Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I'm down here at Porsche Reading because it's 9/11 collection day. Words I thought I would never say. Before we head inside and meet Anthony, and in case you missed my ordering video I did down here a few months ago, Michelin UK have a long-standing relationship with Porsche. Every 12 months they get themselves a partnership car. Today they're trading in their wonderful Cayenne e-hybrid and we're picking up a 911. We're a little bit early, so let's head inside, have a coffee, and then go and find Anthony. I'm extremely fortunate to have picked up a lot of new cars over the past many years. In fact, the first new car I picked up was my 120D way back in 2012. And although this 911's not mine, I'm still really excited. Michelin UK have said I can have as much or as little access to it over the next 12 months. And in fact, we already have some really cool content ideas planned with it. I have a bit of a checklist that I go through each and every time I go and collect a car. First one being your wallet and some ID, especially if you're financing a car. Thankfully, James is doing all the complicated and boring paperwork. Next one is a phone mount. I use the quad lock suction mount, pairs up nicely with the phone. A charging cable. Might sound obvious, but if you've got an hour and a half drive home and you're taking loads of pictures and videos at the dealership, you'll find your phone runs out very quickly. Trust me, I've experienced that many times. Next one is a good pair of sunglasses. And last but most definitely not least, a good pair of driving shoes. I love my Pilates, you're probably very aware of that already. By the way, that behind me, it's a 992.2 Carrera T. Anyway, enough about that 911. Let's go and find our 911. GT4 RS. Oh, and it's on Cup 2s. Lovely jubbly.
Joe.
Hey mate, how's it going?
Long time no see.
Good to see you, bro.
How you doing?
Very good. Very excited about today.
Yeah, it feels like just yesterday we were speccing out your 911.
That video has gained a lot of love, mostly around you though.
All the comments were bought and paid for, but I had a lot of fun making it with you. Honestly, it was a blast. Should we go check out the car?
I think we should.
Let's head over to the Handover back.
Looking forward to it.
Joe, your new car?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was an issue with your license when we ran some checks, so I think legally that's all you can drive off with today.
I do like, is that lava orange?
That is. It's got some pretty good 0 to 60 if you pedal fast.
I mean, it's not the end of the world. As long as it's on Michelin tyres, then I guess I'll take it away, mate.
No, here she is, all wrapped up, sleeping and waiting for you. And we'll get to that in 2 seconds. I just wanted to hand you over a few things from us here at Porsche Center Reading. To you and the Michelin team, obviously you've got a picture of the car, so even though it's under a cover.
I'm not seeing that.
Yeah. Don't look at that. You've got the key. You've got a personal note from me, but also this is an invitation to a Porsche masterclass.
Ooh,
so I'm going to set you up with the basics, show you how everything works.
Wait, you sure this isn't a GT3?
You know, I know with the shape and everything.
Yeah.
But truth be told, from what I've heard, I think a GT3 might be too much car for you. So we're gonna start you off here, kind of base Carrera, give you all the Go Fun looks. But why don't you stand over there? I'll do the reveal for you, and you just take it all in.
Okay, mate.
All right.
Sounds good. Oh yes. See, that is what's so exciting about picking up a brand new car. I know it sounds ridiculous, but it's leaving the dealership with basically 0 miles on the clock. All the plastics, everything coming up to temperature, getting those initial smells. 25 plate, if you're from the UK, you understand that. Anthony's probably still getting to grips with his number plates.
Yeah, I still don't understand the whole 25. I know what it means, I just don't understand people's obsession with it. Whatever, don't get me started, because honestly, I find it so weird.
Basically, the 25, if you're not from the UK, that stipulates that this car is registered on or after the 1st of March 2025. And seeing as we're in the first week of March, this car is basically as new as you can get. You won't see many 25 plate cars out there. So,
well, no, there's plenty here. So
well, yeah,
I appreciate that you feel special, but there's literally a Macan behind here that's got a 25
apart from
plate.
the cars that you sold already.
Yeah. Kind of like we went over in the configurator.
Yep.
All of those high gloss black bits kind of really playing, you know, into the scheme.
Yep.
In the front lower bumper with the intake.
Oh, so that's all part of the Aero kit.
Aero kit, right? So remember,
these are different, aren't they?
this technically is a base Carrera,
yes.
right? So if we didn't do the Aero kit, you'd have a much more clandestine, pedestrian-looking,
subtle,
front bumper. So having kind of like the GTS intakes, the more aggressive front bumper.
Okay.
Obviously, the front section's always going to remain unpainted. It's been that way since 996s, 997s. Because generally, this is the piece that's going to get a little bit beat up, on the road, low-hanging driveways and just road debris and things like that. But no, the colorway with the high gloss black through the front bumper, again, like we built it, tying into the high gloss black on the wheels, high gloss black on the lower mirror base, window trim, and then I think the nicest and coolest part is the top of the wing, right? Having that top section of the wing being high gloss black really just kind of overall puts the whole car together.
Well, we'll get around the back in a sec.
Sure.
But I have to say, and hopefully James is out of earshot, I quite like the front end of this with the aero kit. So at least I like half of the aero kit.
Okay.
I'm still, at first glance at least, not taken by the rear end of the aero kit.
Sure.
But I understand the philosophy behind it. And if you missed the ordering video, it's essentially mirroring a Carrera Cup car because Porsche GB worked very closely with those guys. Hopefully I'll be going to an event or two this year. They wanted this car to look very close to, let's say, a bare Carrera Cup car, hence it being GT silver with the aero kit on it.
Remember, we didn't do a sunroof option on it, so it's got the traditional roof.
Silver roof.
And honestly, we've had, the conversation since then, and I think it's a good conversation to have, how capable the base Carrera really is.
Yes.
I just spent a couple days or a couple hours ripping one of these around Silverstone at the Porsche Experience track.
Yep.
Not with an aero kit, largely that wouldn't have made a difference, but the base Carrera is really, really capable. In the right hands, even in the wrong hands, it feels like a lot of cars, really enjoyable. It never really gets scary on you.
Yep.
So, it gives you a bar to kind of to reach in the driving experience.
I think as a road car, I always say, and I said it again in our ordering video, that I think a road car, base 992 or 992.2, it's all you need. Like you don't need 500-600 horsepower, in my opinion, on the road.
Yeah.
The wheels, these are optional aero style wheels.
Correct, in high gloss black.
I didn't like them on the configurator, and I'm not the biggest fan of them on the car. Maybe once we get it outside, they'll look good. But I see where the sort of motorsport theme's coming in. I think their saviour is the fact that they're clad with Michelin's Pilot Sport 4S tyre, which are N-marked, meaning they are homologated, designed, developed for the 992 generation Carrera. And I've spent a lot of time on these tyres in a 992.1 and absolutely love them. They reduce cabin noise, they give you a better ride quality, which, as you're familiar with in the UK on our fantastic roads, sarcasm, but they've also got your favourite option.
Yeah, you have to always go with the color, the gold crest center caps on our wheels. I think in certain cars, you can walk through the showroom and certain cars, the monochrome ones, just the black and silver ones will work well.
Yep.
I think with an all black wheel, to your point, it does just help kind of give you a little bit of a pop of color, especially when you do have a lot of the same kind of theme with the color, right?
Yes.
If it's not silver, then it's black on this car. So just having, and also I think when we go back history-wise, I don't ever remember way back in the day if there was an option to have, the monochrome ones. So it also just kind of reminds you what you're driving. It's a little bit of appeal as you walk up to the car. So
it's a little bit of bling.
A little bit of bling.
A little bit of bling.
I'm always a fan.
Just in case you missed this bling on the back, which we're going to get to in a second.
We'll get there. It's hard to miss, obviously. Look at the size of the thing, right?
Oh, we've got clear glass as well, which is very cool.
No privacy glass, yeah.
Aside from the ironing board, coffee table, whatever you want to call it, can we just look at the lovely sports exhaust? I think that looks fantastic.
Of course. There's a lot of elements kind of going into the rear part of the car here. And with the 992.2, we've got kind of a re-sculptured rear end, right? We've got a new design, almost kind of 3D. It's a stepped tail light now that kind of forms itself into the bumper. Obviously with the aero kit, there's a little bit more high gloss black towards the bottom as well. And then of course, these tailpipes, especially with this kind of theme, doesn't this car give you like GT2 RS vibes?
It does, yeah.
Not as big of a wing, but with the oval tailpipes, you do have to kind of take it in as a big picture. What I always say, especially through this process, because we sat down for quite a while when we built this car and just kind of going through all of the bits and bobs and the intricacies of putting one of these together, putting any vehicles together, especially a 911. What I always say is, you have to get it into the wilderness.
Yes.
It's one thing when the car is sitting here. It's one thing when you have it on the configurator screen. And now that it's here, we're going to start making assumptions and kind of making our opinions on it.
Yep.
But get it into its regular life. Get it into your driveway. Get it into the drive-through at McDonald's. Park it, somewhere in a Tesco.
Yep.
And just take a step back and take it all in.
Yep.
I always say have a little bit of faith in Porsche. Generally, they know what they're doing.
Yep.
And who knows? You might come to love the wheels.
Maybe.
Alas.
Stranger things have happened. Let's jump inside, have a quick look at the interior, and then I'm going to get this out on the road.
Yeah.
I want to make the most of that weather out there.
Absolutely.
I'm very lucky. I get to drive a lot of very new cars from your press department next door, and it's that familiar Porsche smell. But this is brand new, and it has an even slightly different smell to it.
Sure.
It's had no dirty journalists or YouTubers in there.
Just me.
Just you.
I've been the dirtiest thing in this car so far. And which was the last press car you drove? Was it the ST?
It probably was, yes.
So this car was actually parked right next to the ST when I pulled it from the fleet to bring it in here. So it's a little reminiscent. But no, if you press the remember we've got two major new things for the 992.2. The first being the push button. So if you give that a press, towards the lower bottom, this car has done 15 miles.
Wow.
And largely, that's between putting it on the truck at the port, taking it off the truck at the port, moving it around here, filling it with fuel. Other than that, you're really getting kind of a brand new car. You've got the smells. The welcome screen is still set up. Will pair your phone. Largely, what I like about Porsche, especially compared to a lot of cars on the market nowadays, is every button that you see is functional.
Yes.
Right? There's not a lot of kind of, extra stuff. I know certain brands, they've got, their seat switches all on the doors, and it's too much.
Yep.
Seat switches are where you expect them to be.
Yep.
Almost everything that you're going to need immediately is going to be on the steering wheel, all of your steering wheel controls. And like we would expect, the turn signals are where they need to be, the wipers are where they need to be, cruise control is where we need to be. So really, I'm going to show you 3 buttons, and I'm going to send you on your way so you can start to enjoy this car. Technically 4. So the first one we'll start with are these 2, right? You've got your front axle lift. So when we press that, you're going to get a indication on the instrument cluster that the front end is being lifted.
Yep.
Once it reaches its full lift, you're then going to get an indicator on the PCM. That's what we call this main screen here about the smart lift geo function.
Yep.
It will be able to save the location of where you ever just used that front axle lift, so that coming back around, you don't have to press that button again.
Brilliant.
Right?
That's a really good feature.
Yeah.
It's not just a marketing thing. It's a really handy button.
I need you to keep that aero kit clean. Next time I see this car, the only difference I want to see is that the mileage has gone up.
Did you just say keep something clean? Have you watched any of my videos, aside from the one with you in it, obviously?
People can change. People can change. People can change.
Okay.
Right next to the front axle lift button, we've got the all-important sports exhaust button.
Yes.
Right? So you have an individual button for it, and as you see when you press it, it will light up red.
Yep.
So you can activate that at any time, cruising through, just the normal neighborhood, pulling into a parking lot if you wanna get a little bit more attention. It's as quick and simple as pressing it on.
So I can just be like, check out, listen to me, look
Exactly.
at my aero kit.
Yeah, if the aero kit didn't give it away, then you can press the sports exhaust and say, guys, I need attention. Give me all of the attention. All right.
Okay, noted.
Third and kind of fourth final button is one that I think you're going to use quite often. It's called the drive mode selector switch, right? So that is the button located right on the steering wheel where you will cycle through your different driving modes. The car will always default through an ignition cycle. So when you turn it off, it will always default back to normal mode.
Sure.
Then you can click it over into Sport and Sport Plus. And what I always say is, because people say, well, what does that mean? What does it do? Largely, it's going to change the dynamics of the car overall. The PASM suspension is going to start kind of firming itself up. It's going to mess around with the bound and the rebound.
Sure.
Automatically, the sports exhaust is going to turn on. And because this is a PDK car, you're really going to notice that it is going to start holding gears versus kind of quickly upshifting you for economy. It's going to hold you in that rev range, especially when you kind of get it to where it's going to start making boost and start making power. And also on the upshifts and the downshifts, you're just going to find them to be a little bit more crisp. Throttle sensitivity with your right foot is going to get a little bit more aggressive. So like I said, it's not changing things largely, but it's just sharpening that knife with each click.
Sure. And you really do feel that, don't you? And you've got the M button down here, so if you want the manual pedals, which are lovely, still aluminium. Other manufacturers, take note. Come on, stop saving your euros and giving us plastic pedals. These feel so good.
The tactile bits, right? The things that
yeah.
we're going to touch 24/7. That's why even the sports exhaust buttons,
Yeah.
they have that nice little knurled end to it, right?
Everything. It's the small things that really do count and matter when you're spending this kind of money on a premium product. I mean, the contrasting stitching, again, it's very German in here. It's very black and...
Classic Porsche crests
yes,
on the headrests.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of nice little things. The matte carbon in here is
yeah,
fantastic.
the matte carbon. But I think the contrasting stitching just brings, again, a bit like the centre crest we were talking about on the wheels outside, just brings a little bit of contrast in here, which I think is really important.
To your point, it brings the theme of the outside of the car inside of the car, right? The black and the silver.
He's here a week. Unfortunately for his colleagues.
And the last button that I'm going to show you, which I like with the 992.2, they've given it kind of like a fighter jet style feel, is in the middle of the drive mode selector switch. You've got a nice red button now, right? It looks very nuclear, that button.
It does.
It looks like if you press it, something bad is going to happen.
See how I didn't hesitate there?
Exactly. Well, also, you know, I don't want you pulling straight out of here with any sort of aggression. But that is your sport response button. You will get 20 seconds of increased boost. If we're talking about aggressive launches, somebody next to you thinks that they happen to be in a faster car, then you just really need to show them that they're
overtaking.
Not. Press that button, and you're going to get out of Dodge, as we say in the States, fairly quickly.
Excellent. Mate, I think I'm going to get on my way. Go and enjoy this car. It's been absolutely wonderful.
Pleasure as always, John.
Dealing with you.
Pleasure as always.
Guys, honestly, I'll put Anthony's. It is Anthony. Actually, while we're on that note.
Here we go.
So, as you know, me and Tony Lewis, we're like that. And Tony sold me many BMWs. Am I allowed to say that in a Porsche dealership? Over the years, I hadn't twigged, because I am a little bit slow. Many of you know that.
That's why he drives fast cars.
Yes, you're not meant to agree with that.
Compensating.
This is also a Tony Lewis, a younger, better-looking version of Tony Lewis. Sorry, Tony. But
you're making me have enemies, and I haven't even. You're starting beef out here, and I haven't even done anything.
I think you two would get on really well, so I hope that you both.
Well, you know what, Tony? If you're ever in the neighborhood, I'd love to meet. I guess like a doppelganger.
Yes.
Or maybe we're cousins, or.
He should be so lucky. Yeah.
Come on by, or I'll come visit you.
So if you need a Porsche or you need a BMW, Tony Lewis is your man.
Easy. I guess that's easy to remember, right? Like one of us will get you the car of your potential dreams. But Joe, get out of here, enjoy this thing. Honestly, I've had a blast, and give me some feedback. Stop by and let me know what you think.
I think the last thing to do before you jump out is just start it. So do we put it in Sport Plus to get a bit more?
If you want the sports exhaust to kind of automatically open, fire it up.
Okay, and then the button, which I can't quite get used to.
You'll get used to it.
Oh,
that is nice.
Yes,
that is nice,
mate. Get out of here.
Yeah. No, you enjoy. I'll talk to you soon.
See you later, man. What a day. You join me about 30 minutes later on one of my favourite roads, which just happens to be very local to Porsche Centre Reading. Unfortunately, while the sun is going down, it's rush hour, it's relatively busy. But that's not too much of an issue because, well, this is a brand new car. It has 35 miles on the odometer. And although it doesn't need an official running in service like you'd get with a typical BMW M car, it does have a running in period where they ask you essentially to keep the revs low, nowhere near red line, and keep the load off the engine, so not flooring it even in higher gears, because it's that maximum torque figure that you're trying to keep off everything while everything beds in and while everything essentially runs in. So this initial drive home is going to be relatively sedate, but I can experience this car in another way. I can take in everything around me. This beautiful 911 cabin that I'm very familiar with, because although this is a 992.2, it's almost identical in here to a 992.1, aside from the all digital dash now. It's a shame they have got rid of the analog dial in the middle. That's all very configurable, and I'm sure I'll play around with that a lot over the next few weeks of having this car. We've also lost the startup tab. There's a button down there, but aside from that, it's all very familiar and lovely in here. before I switched the cameras on, I had a chance to get out and have a look at this car in daylight, which is always different to seeing it in the showroom, even in a fancy handover bay like Porsche Centre Reading. And I have to say, GT Silver, it's one of my favourite colours. It looks stunning, and although I'm not a fan of the aero kit itself, it does make this car, especially the rear end, look extra aggressive and much more GTS or even GT like, but I still definitely wouldn't have one. Unfortunately, the wheels, they really don't do it for me, if I'm being totally honest. They really don't do it for me. If you're buying a 992.2, think long and hard about your wheel options, because I think these just don't look good, but that's my own personal opinion. I want to say a massive thanks to Anthony, aka Tony Lewis Mark II, for handing over the car. It was an absolute pleasure to deal with you again, mate. I really appreciate your time and humour on camera. Huge thanks, of course, goes to Michelin UK, James and Co. for setting this up and allowing me to experience the feeling, at least, of going to pick up a 911, a brand new 911 from a main dealer. Very, very cool. Tomorrow morning I'll wake up and realise that this is just a dream. Although in my dream I wouldn't have those wheels. Wait, am I still going on about those wheels? I'm sorry, but yeah, they just do this car absolutely no favours. But we might have a solution for that down the track. I'm going to enjoy this last bit of road and my drive home. I'm going to switch these cameras off. Stay tuned to see what we have planned with this car over the next 6 to 12 months. I'm really excited and looking forward to that. I'll see you at another video very, very soon. Cheers. Keep those revs low, Joe. Keep those revs low. There we go. Keep that speed low, too.